Good morning, friends. I am Dr. Yashwant Madhav Radhakishan, working as an assistant professor in English in Sri Sadguru Gangagir Maharaj Science, Gautam Arts and Sanjeevani Commerce College, Kopargaon. We have prepared certain PPTs and videos for FOI BCom, and for this additional English, I am going to deliver lecture on poem "The World is Too Much with Us." In the semester first, unit number first, this is the second poem. First topic is a prose, and this is the second poem. Second topic, that is a poem, "The World is Too Much with Us." It is a poem by William Wordsworth. So, who was William Wordsworth? Let us think about him. You see, my friends, William Wordsworth was a romantic poet belonging from the first generation of romantic poet in England, and he was born in Lake District to an attorney. His father was attorney. He got his education at two three places: Perith, then Hoxhead Grammar School, and St. John's College, Cambridge. He received legacy in 1795 and he lived at Dorset, Alfredon. As far as his literary contribution is concerned, he has written lyrical ballads in 1798, which is considered as the beginning of a romantic period in English literature. Even he has composed poems in two volumes, and he has written an autobiography, The Prelude. It was published in 1799, then 1805 and 1850. He was born in 1770 and died in 1850. Now let us think about the poem, "The World is Too Much with Us." William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth was a nature poet, and he has composed a sonnet here. What is sonnet? Sonnet is a 14 lines poem, and he has followed the Italian sonnet form. That means it has two parts: first 8 lines and then 6 lines, octave and sextet. So rhyming scheme is A B B A A B B A. As far as theme of this poem is concerned, William Wordsworth is talking about evils of materialism. In this poem, he is talking about evils of materialism. Then he is talking about insensitivity towards the beauty of nature. Human beings are not paying much attention to the beauty of nature. So that is why he has composed this poem. It is a meditative sonnet. It makes us to think on our own that how human beings are behaving in the nature, in the company of nature, and how they should have to behave in the company of nature. Here in this poem, the poet laments on the loss of nature, on the loss of good practices of human beings. Then the poet expresses a distaste for contempt of civilization. The poet praises nature worship, and as far as style is concerned, it has universal appeal. Truth carried alive into the hearts by passion. He asks us that we have to go back to nature, because we get kind of satisfaction, we get a kind of mental peace, and there is healing in the company of nature. We have to go away from the material world. That is what he wants to say in this poem. Let us think about this poem. I'll read the poem first. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. The sea that bears her bosom to the moon, the winds that will be howling at all hours, and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For these, for everything, we are out of tune. It moves us not, great God. I'd rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outward. So might I standing on this peasant lea, having glimpses that would make me less forlorn. Have sight of the Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wretched horn. Now let us start to understand the poem with certain references. For example, the world is too much with us. The poet says that the world is always supporting us. The world means the natural world around us, that is always supporting us. Late and soon means the world is always with us in the past and even in the future of mankind. It will be with us. It is going to be with us. Getting and spending. But what do? We get whatever we want from the nature and we spend it. We waste our power in these things, getting and spending, but we do not pay attention to the nature, that what nature is doing for us. Waste our powers means, we lay waste our powers means, what does that power stands for? The potentiality of humanity. Do we use the potentiality of humanity to preserve the nature? Do we look at the nature? Do we understand that how the nature is helping us? The powers are clouded by the mentality of getting and spending. So what do? We use our power, we use potentiality of humanity only to get something from the nature, and we spend it without thinking it seriously. Little we see in nature that is ours. What do? We do not think about the whole nature, the system of nature, the cycle of nature. But what do? Little we think, little we see in nature that is ours. Whatever we want. For example, we want some water. We think that how can we take water from the nature? But we do not think that if we extract water from the nature, then what will happen with the natural circle? We want trees, we cut the trees. We want furniture, we cut the trees. We use that furniture for our household. But we do not think that if we cut the trees and if we use that wood for the sake of our furniture, for our comfort, then what will happen? That the cycle of the nature will collapse. We do not think like that. We have given our hearts away a sordid boon. We do not listen to our heart in these matters. We break the nature, we break the cycle of the nature, and it is a kind of sordid boon that we do not pay attention to the nature. The habit of our heart is a kind of sordid boon. The selfishness is a kind of sordid boon to us, to the human beings. We have given our hearts for what? The materialistic progress of mankind. We think about the progress of mankind, but at the same time we do not think about other creatures in the nature or the nature itself. The detriment society has on the environment, it will proceed unchecked and relentless like the winds that will be howling at all hours. We have given our hearts away a sordid boon, this sea that bears her bosom to the moon. So, do we pay attention to the things that is happening in the nature around us? We do not. Have we seen, have we seriously observed, have we seriously seen the pleasure of the sea, that how the sea waves are coming up when there is a full moon in the sky, the sea that bears her bosom to the moon. So what that sea? That sea desires to meet the moon. So it bears her bosom to the moon. Have we seen that? No. That happened on the full moon day. Full moon night, we would like to say. The winds that will be howling at all hours. Have we paid attention to this one? No, we have not. And are up gathered now like sleeping flowers. And how are we? We are just like sleeping flowers. We do not think others. For these, for everything, we are out of tune. We are not able to enjoy the natural beauty because we are not in tune with the nature. We are out of tune of the nature. People are so concerned about time and money that they have no time to look at nature. They use up all their energy for material pleasures, but we do not go in the company of nature. See, William Wordsworth was a nature poet, and he advocates that man should go to the nature. That is one of the aspect of romantic poetry. People want to accumulate material goods only. They do not want to see the natural beauty. They do not going to observe the peace that they observe or that they will experience in the company of nature. So they see nothing in nature that they can own. They have sold their souls to the material pleasures. There is no enjoyment of the natural beauty, but we have sold our souls to the material things, to the material pleasures. Next he says, little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our we have given our hearts away a sordid boon. The sea that bears her bosoms to the moon. What he says that? Little we see in nature that is ours. The poet envisions coexisting relationship of the man and nature. We should be able to appreciate beautiful events like the moon shining over the ocean, just now I told you, and the blowing of the strong wind. But humans are on a different wavelength from nature. Man's recovered sentiments for nature. Man is obsessed with materialism. So we can see the romantic feelings. Romantic means going to nature, thinking about individual. Romantic feelings of Wordsworth. So what he says that we have to appreciate nature. His oaths for a man and its opposition to nature. He says, he focuses that how man is opposing nature. The relationship is at the mercy of mankind. It should not at the mercy of nature, but it is at the it should be at the mercy of nature, but now it is at the mercy of mankind. Nature is described in a vulnerable way. This sea that bears her bosom up to moon. So sea is considered as something feminine creature opposing herself to the heavens above. And sleeping flowers, nature is being overrun unknowingly. Nature is helpless. So might I standing on this pleasant lea have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sights of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. Poet says that I standing on this pleasant lea have glimpses that would make me less forlorn. Wordsworth's perception of himself in the society. What he says that he says that I'll be more in touch with nature than society. And he says that I'd like to be a pagan, like a pagan worshipping an outdated religion. What he says that I accept to be a pagan. I'd like to be a pagan, the pagan who is worshipping outdated religion. Why? Because if the pagan is worshipping nature, then I would like to be a pagan. He gazes out on the ocean and he feels less sad. When he look at the ocean at that time, he feels less sad. He feels quite happy. He says that if he were a pagan, he would have glimpses of the great green meadows that would make him less dejected. He has given references of two gods from paganism. First is that Proteus, a wild mythological god. He can take many shapes. And another is Triton. He is blowing a horn. You see that. Triton is a mythological god. It can soothe the howling sea waves. Now you see, William Wordsworth has used metaphor here when he says that getting and spending and late and soon. So monotonous nature of modern life and materialism is reflected through these two words, getting and spending and late and soon. We have given our hearts away a sordid boon. There is an oxymoron. Sordid means the worst aspect of human nature, immortality, selfishness and greed. Boon means a blessing or benefit. But what do we have? We have a kind of worst boon. That materialism is a kind of worst boon to mankind. Though it gives pleasure, though it provides pleasure to us, but that pleasure is temporary pleasure. That pleasure we cannot compare with the pleasure that nature is giving to us. There is a contradiction between sordid and boon. The tension between the good exterior and the sordid truth behind the materialism that he wants to focus on. Materialism, material goods, which brings pleasure, getting and spending, symbol of man's progress, a destructive, corrupt blessings by the industrial revolution, and materialism is fed the worst aspect of humanity. It is a kind of sordid boon. That is why it is a sordid boon. According to William Wordsworth, that means when he is writing romantic poetry or when he is representing romantic poetry, he is negating neoclassicism. What is neoclassicism? There was a rationality, strength and order and power. But when he is advocating romanticism, at that time he is rebelling against neoclassicism. He says that there is no need of rationality, there is no need of strength, order and power, but we have to think about human beings in the company of nature. He gives preference to emotions and nature rather than materialism. That importance to materialism was given by neoclassicism. So he opposes neoclassicism through this poetry. He says that, William Wordsworth says that we have to think about music and harmony of nature. For these, for everything, we are out of tune, when he says in this poem. For these, for everything, we are not able to see the sun, we are not able to see the sea, we are not able to see we are not able to experience the wind, and we are not able to experience the sleeping flower. That means when we are out of tune for all these things, means man is out of tune with nature. Man is unable to live in harmony with the world around him, and that is why he advocates the harmonious relationship of man and nature. It is a kind of sensuous experience of nature. He has used the imagery and are gathered now like sleeping flowers. An example of simile: sleeping flowers means numbness of man. How are we? We are just like sleeping flower. That means we are numb towards the sensuous things that nature is providing to us. We are unaware of the beauty and power of the natural world. Humans are only dormant. So we are not able to see the beauty around us, the natural beauty around us. We are just indulged in materialism. So that is what he says. The world is too much with us. That means the world is too much with us, but we are not able to see the natural phenomena, how that world is helping us. But we are quite selfish. Whatever we want, we take from nature, and again, we do not pay much attention to nature. Uh, but we have to pay much attention to nature. We have to see, or we have to seek the pleasure, mental pleasure particularly, from nature. That is what William Wordsworth is arguing through this poem. The world is too much with us. So thank you very much.